Alright, we're wrapping up section 3 here with lesson 30. We're talking about repeating decimals, and your objective is to write fractions as repeating decimals. First thing we need to do is define repeating decimal. A repeating decimal is just a number, or a decimal number that repeats itself in a pattern. Okay, so for example, it might look like this, where we've got something like 0.3 repeating. Okay, that means it's about 0.3333 ... Okay, and those 3's go on forever, they repeat themselves. Okay, it might be something like 0.457 repeating. That means that it's 0.457, 457, so on and so forth. Okay, it could be something like 1.234 and look like this. Okay, and that means 1.2 and the 3-4 repeats. 3-4, 3-4, 3-4, ... Okay, so notice the only part that repeats in a repeating decimal is the part with this little line above it. Okay, so the 3 has a line over it, so that keeps repeating itself. Here the 4, 5, and 7 have a line over it, so we go 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, and so on. In this one, the only ones that have a line over it are the 3 and the 4. So the 1 and the 2 don't repeat, and the 3 and the 4 repeat themselves. Okay? The repetend, then, is the part that repeats. Okay? It's just a fancy name for the part that repeats. So in the top number, 0.3 repeating, the repetend is the 3. That's the digit that repeats. In 0.457 repeating, the 4, 5, and 7 is the repetend. And then in the last example, the 3 and the 4 are the repetend. Okay, so now let's go on to some examples of how we're going to use these. Okay, example 1 says express each fraction or mixed number as a decimal number. Okay, so we learned how to do this before. If I want to express this as a mixed number, okay, so I'm starting with, or as a decimal, I'm starting with 1/6. That means that I'm going to make a division problem where my numerator, my top number, goes on the inside, and my denominator goes on the outside. So I have 1 divided by 6. Okay, well 6 doesn't go into 1, so we put a 0 there. Then I got to put a decimal. I like to put my decimal up right away, up top, so I don't forget about it. 6 goes into 10 once. I need some room here. 1 times 6 is 6. And I subtract. 10 minus 6 is 4. I have to keep going. 6 goes into 40 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. I subtract and get 4. If I bring down my 0. Now if I look right here, I already had 40 once, and now I have it again. Well, how many times does 6 go into 40? That's 6 times again. And I can multiply again and get 36, and what happens here is I'm repeating now. Okay, this same pattern, I got 40, and I got 40, and then again I bring down a 0 and get 40. So that tells me the 6 repeats. Okay, so to write this as a repeating decimal, all I need to do is rewrite it. So I've got 0.16, and then because the 6 is the repetend, the digit that repeats, I'm going to put the little bar above it. So it's 0.16 repeating. So that 6 would just keep repeating itself over and over and over. Okay, let's go on to the second example. Now we've got a mixed number that we want to make a decimal. So I've got 2 1/3. Okay, there's two different ways I could do this. Okay, and the way that I'm going to recommend you do this is to first make this a fraction, okay, an improper fraction. So do the times plus. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So this is the same as 7/3. Now we'll do the division. So we put 7 on the inside and 3 on the outside. And 3 goes into 7 twice. If I multiply, I get 6. Subtract. 3 doesn't go into 1 now, so I got to put a decimal and bring down a 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. And I bring down another 0. And looky here, I've got 10 again for the second time in a row. Well, we know 3 is going to go into 10 3 times again. And 3 times 3 is 9. I subtract, and I got a 1, so that means I'm going to get 10 again. So my 3 is going to repeat itself. So I write 2, point, and then my repetent is 3, so I put the repeating sign above it, 2.3 repeating. Okay? Now if you wanted to, you could solve this another way. Okay, we could forget about our whole number to start with and just divide our fraction. And we could do 1 divided by 3. And 3 doesn't go into 1. But 3 goes into 10 3 times, and I subtract, and I get 9. Bring down a 0, and right now again we can see it's going to repeat itself. So my repeating decimal part is 0.3 repeating with the bar above it. But now I have to remember that I had a 2 to start with as my whole number. So my whole number is 2. Point. So notice what I'm doing. I'm putting a 2 where the 0 went because it was 2 and 1/3 and not just 1/3. So I put a 2 here and a decimal point, and then my 3 repeats itself. So there's 2 different ways you can solve the problem. I recommend the first one so you don't forget about the whole number. Okay? But it's up to you. 2 different ways to solve that problem. Okay, let's move on to another example. Okay, find 5/6 of $12.47. Well, the first thing we should do is rewrite this, okay, as 5/6 of means times $12.47. Okay? Well, we know how to multiply with fractions. We've done that before. So my first step over here is to write both numbers as fractions and then multiply them. So I'm going to take 5/6 times, I'm going to do $12.47 over 1. Okay? And then I'm going to multiply. Remember, when I multiply fractions, I multiply across. So I need to show some work. I need to do $12.47 times 5 to get my new top number. That's 35, carry the 3, 20 plus 3 is 23, carry the 2, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12, and I carry the 1, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. I've got 2 decimal places up here in my answer, so I need up there, and I need 2 decimal places in my answer, so it's 62.35, that's my top number. My bottom number is 6 times 1, that is 6. So there's step 1, is to write both numbers as fractions. So we put 5/6 times 1247 over 1, and we multiply it across. Now step 2 is to divide. I'm finding 5/6 of $12.47, so I need to divide and write my answer like money. Okay, so now I'm going to take $62.35 and divide it by 6. Well, 6 goes into 6 once. I subtract and I get 0, and if I bring down my 2, now here's where some people mess up on division, okay? I brought down a digit here, so I need to tell how many times does 6 go into 2. Well, 6 doesn't go into 2, it goes in 0 times. And I'm not going to forget to bring my decimal up here. I like to do that right away. Now we said 6 doesn't go into 2, it goes in 0. So now I need to bring down another digit. So now I ask myself, how many times does 6 go into 23? It goes in 3 times. And that's 18. Subtract and get 5, and bring down my 5. Okay, and 6 goes into 55 9 times. 9 times 6 is 54. And I subtract and I get 1. Need to bring down a 0. And 6 goes into 10 1 time. Multiplying is 6. remainder 4. Now I don't need to go any farther with this one, and the reason is because I'm talking about money here. So I need dollars and cents. So that means that I need to round to this decimal place right here. And this number 1 is going to tell me how to round. Do I leave it at 9 or do I round it up? Well, 1 is less than 5, so I'm going to leave it at 9. So it's $10. Oops, $10.39. Okay? And let's go on to one more example. Alright, and the last thing we need to do, example 3, is to arrange in order from least to greatest. We got 0.3, 0.3 repeating, and 0.33. Okay? Well, first thing I like to do, of course, is line up the digits from top to bottom. So I'm going to take 0.3. Okay, put that on top. Then 0.3 repeating. We need to remember what that means. That means the 3 goes on forever and ever and ever without stopping. So that's like 0.3333, so on and so forth. Notice my decimal points are lined up here. Then the last one is 0.33. So again, keeping the decimals lined up. Now we've done this before. I need to fill in zeros to maintain place values. So I've got some extra digits out here that I need to have zeros fill in to match them up. Now from least to greatest, so I start looking here, they're all zeros. Then here they're all 3s. So in this column, 0 is the least. So that means my least number was 0.3. Then I go to the next column. Here I've got 0s and 3s again. Okay? Well, that means that my next one is 0.33. And then my biggest number is 0.3 repeating, because that 3 just keeps going on and on and on. Make sure on your assignment you show me this work where you're lining up the digits. Don't just try to put them in order from least to greatest. I want to see this kind of work right here. Okay? Alright, good luck on your homework.